Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. As you can see right here in front of you, you might be thinking, where in the world did I get this Triceratops figure? Well, if you haven't been following the news videos on my channel, or keeping up with anything when it comes to the Jurassic World Live Tour, you may not have a clue what this is, but this is actually the Triceratops that is exclusive to the current Jurassic World Live Tour that is going on. I just got done seeing the show. It is really quite awesome, and the figures that go along with it are just as awesome in my opinion because, wow, they are really, really well sculpted, shockingly. It says on the tag here, I believe, that they are produced by Feld Entertainment. I don't know if that's who actually created the figures, but I would imagine so. I know absolutely nothing about them. I've never heard of them. I really don't know how they have such beautifully done sculpts, but I will say that they really, really genuinely look like the species of dinosaur that they're trying to sculpt out from the film versions, because as far as a Jurassic Park style Triceratops, I don't think we've ever gotten a sculpt that looks better than this, because it really genuinely looks just like the Triceratops does in Jurassic Park and even Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World. It really has that perfect kind of sculpt that just looks like the Jurassic Park Triceratops, especially in the head. I think that the Triceratops in the Jurassic Park films has kind of a unique look to it. It's just a little bit different than what you see most Triceratops being portrayed as. It just has that Jurassic Park feel, and I really definitely get that feeling from the head sculpt of this Triceratops. So, as I said, I just hit up the show, I watched it, and I made sure to grab each and every one of the dinosaur figures that they had released. So if you are intending on going to the Jurassic World Live Show, and I really highly recommend that you do if you are a fan of any of the Jurassic films, then these reviews will be probably pretty important to you to decide ahead of time if you want to pick these up, and I highly recommend if you are interested to do just that because, again, they are exclusive to the live show, so once the live show officially ends, these figures will probably disappear, I'd imagine, and then you won't have the option of buying them anymore, so the collectability on them will be off the charts, and they are really, really well done. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at this Triceratops. So starting up with the head sculpt here, you can see if we get close that the detailing of this Triceratops is incredibly well done. Look at the paint used on the eye. The eye is a white coloration, and then you've got a blue background there with a black pupil and even a white spot to kind of insinuate like the glare and the gloss type look that you would see on an eye. Unfortunately, the eyes themselves don't really appear to have any actual gloss on them, but they kind of give you that white dot to make it look like they do. However, I don't think that really takes away from the figure at all, especially because these are just kind of mass-produced for the show, so they're not a company that commonly makes dinosaur figures or anything like this, so I can let it slide. Looking up here at the beak, you can see even the beak includes really, really nice detailing. It's painted with a nice light gray, beautifully sculpted nostrils right there, and the skin detail and skin texture all over the head is really well done, and primarily the body is painted with a nice dark gray, but they've dry brushed this light gray all over the body to bring the detailing out really well. Unfortunately, as far as coloration goes, that's really all you get. You get the dark gray and then this light gray that's kind of dry brushed all over, and then of course the difference in coloration between the beak, the horns, and then you've got the toenails and again these spikes that run along the frill of the Triceratops, but there's just not really too much as far as coloration going on. However, I still think that it looks great. You can even see some cracks and crevices in the horns of the Triceratops, not so many down here on the nose horn, a little bit. You can actually see how I'm squishing it. That's because the figures are very reminiscent of like a recurve figure where they're squishy, or a National Geographic dinosaur like the Carnotaurus I recently reviewed. You can actually move the figure quite a bit, so as far as buying it for your kids, it is a great choice, but even just as great of a choice for someone that collects figures from the movie franchise. I think it's great. You can see the beautiful skin texture up here on the frill, really nice scaling and everything. There's different sized scales all over the place, and you get really nice wide scales right here. You can see the spikes that run along the border here of the frill look great, really well done everywhere that I can see. Beautiful skin wrinkling, just kind of showing a lot of saggy skin down here in the throat. and you can again pick up on the difference between the light dry brushing that they've done and that dark gray underneath. It does give it some nice color variation, just not that much. If we pull the frill back, look at even the back of the frill is really nicely sculpted, beautiful detailing, and that dry brushing has really brought all the detail out so beautifully, just to show you how much work is put into the sculpts of these. Really nice wrinkles there in the neck. It's a little hard to see unless I pull the frill up. Nice skin wrinkling here at the base of the front leg as we lead down. Really nice muscle tone, beautifully sculpted out elbows, and the feet look great. Look at how nice they look. Beautifully painted nails as well, and the nails almost kind of appear to have a slight gloss, as do these up here, so it does give it a little bit of realism, I will say that. You can see the rib cage slightly there. Really nice wrinkling and skin folding going on in the stomach, and that beautiful skin texture continues to run out the entire length of the animal. You can see the spinal column here running along the top of the animal really nicely. Beautiful hip bone protruding from the skin. Really nice muscle tone back here on the rear leg as well, in the thigh region. Nice wrinkling here in the folds of the knee and the back of the knee. Nice calf muscles. You can see the kneecap itself there. Beautifully sculpted out foot. Really nicely painted nails yet again. And then if we move up into the tail, you can see lots of skin wrinkling going on, and really beautifully done scaling the entire length of the tail the whole way out. It looks great as far as that sculpt work goes. And a very similar look to this side, because it's not really in any kind of a dramatic pose. The neck is definitely turned to the right, but it's kind of at like a curious type of a look where it just has its head tilted. And there's not going to be too much difference in the sculpt work. You can again see the wrinkles of the neck, similar to what we saw on the opposing side. Very nice skin folding right here again at the base of the leg. The beautifully sculpted elbow, and really well done as far as the sculpting of the feet and the paint of the nails. Great skin folding going on, a lot going on in the stomach region, especially on the lower part of the stomach. Look how beautiful it is as far as that sculpt work goes. The whole way out of the underside just has really nicely done sculpt and detail as far as lots of skin wrinkling going on. And then you've got the awesome Jurassic World logo down here on the bottom of the foot as far as the silhouette of the Rex skeleton. Really nice muscle tone once again in the thigh. Nice wrinkling back here in the back of the kneecap. There's the beautiful kneecap in the front sculpted out, the really nicely sculpted feet and painted nails, and then again the tail back here, all that beautiful detail looks fantastic. So as far as a Jurassic World or Jurassic Park Triceratops goes, this thing is awesome. So as far as a size goes on our Triceratops, from the tail to probably the tip of the horn would be the furthest part out. You're looking at about 11 inches or about 28.5 centimeters, and for a height, the highest point's probably the frill, so about 4.25 inches or around 11 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, who you can see would have one heck of a big battle on his hands if this Triceratops were to get angry and try to send Mr. Papo Rex off away from his family. You can see the Papo Rex would probably catch a horn right in the throat, but you can definitely also tell that these figures are actually really quite large. Impressively large, I will say that. As far as the Triceratops that looks like the Jurassic Park version, I think this is off the charts beautiful. The only thing that I can honestly say I think might be a little bit of an issue with this figure is I feel like the tail might be a bit too long for a Triceratops. It's just really quite long actually. But aside from that, and even that may be correct because I do believe the Triceratops from Jurassic Park did have a pretty lengthy tail size on it. But aside from that even slight issue, I think this thing is fantastic. For a company that I've never really heard of making dinosaur figures before, this is beautifully sculpted. All the detailing, all the likeness of a Jurassic Park Triceratops is really beautifully done. It looks spot on, in my opinion, to a Jurassic Park Triceratops, especially in the head sculpt, but even the body as well. The detail is all beautifully brought out all throughout the dinosaur, really showing the very nice scaling and even the movement in the dinosaur sculpt itself by a very nice light gray that has been put all over the entire dinosaur, and I definitely do like that. I like that they've gone and included extra paint application because they could have just kind of done it the lazy way and made it a solid gray and then called it a day, but they didn't. They did try to include some paint variation by dry brushing a lot of the detail out and making it look a lot more realistic, and I really love that they did that. I really think that that was a great choice, and it helps to make the overall appearance of the figure so much better. The eyes are actually painted really nicely, and you can tell that there was a lot of care put into the painting of the eyes, as it has that beautiful blue eye with the nice dark black pupil but the white background. And I can't see any sloppiness or anything as far as the paint goes on the figure. I think the horns and the beak and the toenails and everything, there's no real sloppiness that I can see. Everything seems to be painted pretty much to perfection. So if you are going to the Jurassic World Live Tour, I definitely recommend you picking up not just this Triceratops, but honestly each and every one of the figures that they have there as far as the dinosaurs go. However, that does tend to get a bit pricey, as the Triceratops alone, at least in my city, was $22. So it is a little bit pricey for the figures, but for this size, I think that is actually a really, really good price. Very fair. But again, I was kind of expecting them to be around the $18 range, because I had actually seen someone else post an image of these figures for sale in their city for $18, but when they came to my city, they were $22. So I'm not really sure what happened there, why the price went up, but I still think it's a pretty darn good price for this really beautiful Jurassic Park style Triceratops. And the fact that these are exclusive to the show, I think just makes it so much better to get a hold of them and own them, because of the future rarity of these figures. Once the show ends, I'm sure these things are going to be very sought after, so picking them up now is a great idea. So again, if you are going to the Jurassic World Live Show, make sure you stop by the merchandise booth and pick up these beautiful figures, this Triceratops specifically. But before you go running off to the show, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.